Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time, as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. Today I want to give you my top 10 PlayStation Portable games of all time. I meant to do this list a while ago. I had a commenter request it after I did my top 10 DS games. Meant to get to it that week. Got really busy with my move and everything. I just haven't been able to get to it, so super sorry. Here it is for you. It was actually a little bit hard to narrow down because the PSP library is actually pretty huge. And so I was able to get it narrowed down, but there were plenty of honorable mentions. I've got stuff like Little Big Planet. You've got the Gran Turismo game, which was fantastic on there. A slew of games like the Siphon Filter games and stuff like that. There are plenty of ones that could have made this list. Let me know in the comment section down below any of ones that you absolutely love. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII is one that I never played, but I know a lot of people like. That's another one that's going to be left off. So let me know in the comment section down below your very favorites. And let's get into the list with number 10, which is going to be Dissidia 012, which is a sequel to Dissidia Final Fantasy. I absolutely adore this game. As much as I'm not like the biggest Final Fantasy fan, this is a pure fan service game. It's essentially an arena fighter where you play as a slew of Final Fantasy characters. And this one is even bigger than the original one, which is why I included this one. It has a bigger roster. It's just way more fun. I think it's more polished as well, more balanced and everything. It's a ton of fun to watch your favorite characters just go to blows. I just think it was just pure adrenaline, pure fun from start to finish. I just had a blast booting it up. I hardly even knew what the heck was going on because, like I said before, I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan, but watching these characters just duke out and getting to play whoever I wanted to, it felt like playing a Dragon Ball Budokai game. And so I just absolutely adored it. I think it's super fun and it looks fantastic on the PSP, so it's going to take my number 10 spot. Number 9 is going to be Loco Roco 2. This is a really fun series, and most of the PlayStation Portable games, and a lot of them on this list, will be platformers or puzzle games. It was just the perfect console for those kind of games. This is a puzzle platformer. Essentially, you are like manipulating the world to move your character along. Lots of puzzling to do, lots of collectibles to get. It's really, really charming. The art style is fantastic. The puzzles get really interesting and unique. It's a very different perspective type of game, and I really like what Loco Roco is, and I think the sequel is just a much better version of the original game. I love both of them, but Loco Roco 2 is going to take it for me. Number 8 is going to be N+. This is another one of those just I absolutely adore. Another great platformer game. This is a platformer, physics-based. You're essentially trying to complete different objectives. This one is pretty notorious for getting really hard later on, especially I think there was a released version later on with N++ with extra levels and everything. But just the original one was also pretty darn difficult when you got to the end ones. There are tons of like really hard things to accomplish in this one. The later levels are absolutely like smash your face against the wall kind of levels. Very much like Super Meat Boy kind of game. I absolutely adore this one. I think it's super fun, super challenging, and I really adore that about a lot of platformers like that. So it's going to be here at number 8 on my list. Number 7 is going to be Daxter. Now, while I didn't really love Clank, and even despite loving Ratchet and Clank wasn't the best game on the PlayStation Portable. I thought it was okay. It was like finally getting to play as Clank was cool, but didn't really scratch that itch like Daxter did. Daxter absolutely kicked that trend and made something even. I think Clank came out after, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless of that, Daxter was just phenomenal. It felt a lot like a Jak and Daxter game. I think this is one of the best platforming games on the PlayStation Portable. I just really like what they did with this one. I think it's a really impressive showcase of what they could do with it in terms of graphics and in terms of how well it controlled, how fluid it was. And this was one of the early PSP games as well. So I think this one just really stands out for being a really phenomenal showcase of tech. I think they really knocked it out of the park with this one, so it's going to be number 7 here. Number 6 is going to be Lumines 2. I think the Lumines, I never know how to say these ones. It's a really fun game. I think Tetris with a lot more style. I think Tetris Effect for something more like notable as of late that you can compare it to. It's different in like the way that you execute. Obviously, it's not going to be a carbon copy of Tetris, but the way that you execute, like getting combos and everything, the way you build structures and like manipulate the colors of each block, makes the Tetris formula much, much different. And it's so cool. It's so like the soundtrack makes it so much fun. Like the synthetic music that you have along with it just feels really good. Pulling off these combos really works really, really well. Any of the Lumines games are fantastic, but I think number 2 is my favorite for the PlayStation Portable, so it's going to be up here on this list. Number 5 is going to be Patapon 2. I considered Patapon 3, considered Patapon 1. I think any of them work, honestly. I think Patapon 3 has a lot of charm, a lot of like visual upgrades and everything. I think they did a lot. That one came out really late in the PSP's life cycle. But for my money, I think the Patapon 2 is the best one on the console. It's another one of those games that it's hard to describe exactly what it is or give a good comparison. It is a rhythm-based game. Think Rhythm Heaven for the most apt comparison, but it's its own thing too. It's very charming. It has its own storyline and everything, and it's just a ton of fun. I was so happy when they finally announced that Patapon was coming over to Nintendo Switch, getting a multi-release there, because it's kind of been relegated to the PlayStation Portable and PlayStation Vita. It's just one of those games that just demands to be played by a bigger audience. It's so much fun. Hard to describe what makes it so unique without just saying it's a Patapon game. So if you haven't checked it out, go play the Patapon games. You will not be disappointed. If you love rhythm-based games, I think this is probably like the best of the genre, if I'm not. I think that's not something too unfair to say. You've got it right up there with Rhythm Heaven and even like the Guitar Hero games when they were at their peak. So Patapon 2 is going to be up here at the top of the list here. Number 4 is going to be Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. You could absolutely say Vice City Stories here. Pick your poison. I think they're both really good. For my money, I think Liberty City was a little more interesting locale, and it was my preferred game on the console. For the record here, Chinatown Wars is actually my favorite one on the console, but I gave that on my DS games list. I don't want to have any crossover here. It was so much fun. I love Chinatown Wars. But this was a really cool showcase of how well the PlayStation Portable could run games like Grand Theft Auto. Actually having a full third-person shooter on the PSP showcased how incredible the console was. And it ran incredibly well. And it had a pretty solid story as well. It's not the best Grand Theft Auto game by any means, but the fact that it runs so well and it has a competent story and it's just really well realized on the console puts it this high up for me, because it was like the best way to play Grand Theft Auto on the go until they started porting them over to like iOS and iPad way later on. This one was just a great feat of technology, so it's going to be up here at number 4. Number 3 is going to be Persona 3 Portable. I love the Persona series. I'm so glad they're getting remasters and remakes. We got Persona 5 Royale, which is phenomenal. We got all the ports over to the PlayStation, the Nintendo Switch, and the other consoles as well. Persona 4 Golden actually is my favorite PlayStation Vita game of all time. And Persona 3 Portable is just fantastic. This is when they started breaking away from even having the Shin Megami Tensei title to go along with Persona. This is when they first really started to go into their own realm here and just say, yeah, this is our own franchise. It's its own spin-off now. It's not even tied to the Shin Megami Tensei anymore. Persona 3 was a really beautiful first attempt, even though this is the third game, first attempt at breaking away and doing its own thing. And it is stylish as all get out. It is so fantastic. It tells a phenomenal story. I'm so stoked it got the Reload remake on the PlayStation 5. Go check that out if you haven't yet, because this one really is just that incredible. This was like the best place to play it on the PlayStation Portable, which again, it's funny since Golden was the best place to play it, like Vita was the best place to play it there. It just really just screams polished from start to finish, tells a phenomenal story. You're going to be hooked in this one for hours. So it's going to be number 3 on my list. Number 2 is going to be Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I love the Metal Gear Solid franchise just for its craziness. I think it's just insane the way that Hideo Kojima put together this crazy story. But what makes Peace Walker so fantastic is that, again, it's one of those marvel that it runs on the PlayStation Portable as well as it does, but also tells one of the best storylines in the entire franchise. A lot of people regard Peace Walker as one of the very best in the Metal Gear, and I agree with that. It plays so smoothly, you would not even believe that you're playing on the PlayStation Portable. You would assume you were playing it straight on the PlayStation 2 with its contemporaries. It just plays that well. And again, it tells such a phenomenal story. It goes right into the lore of everything. It just works perfectly. This game is a phenom for the console, and I think it deserves, a lot of people would probably put it at number 1. I think you'll see why it's not quite at number 1 here, but it is just that fantastic. But number 1 is going to be God of War Chains of Olympus. I easily could have put Ghost of Sparta here, and I love that game, but Chains of Olympus I think was just a little bit better. I think it was more polished, and overall it told the best story. I just love this one. Again, a feat of complete ingenuity putting on the PlayStation Portable. Putting hack and slash on the go works flawlessly, and this game bangs from start to finish. Phenomenal boss fights, great puzzling and platforming sections. You have some of the best hack and slash gameplay that you could possibly get at this time, and it just works so beautifully. So that's going to be my list. Let me know in the comment section again what your favorites are, the PlayStation Portable, especially ones that I missed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.